Hi everyone, it's Fitz with your post-game talk. That sounded really professional. K-State wins this game 70-66 over Oklahoma State. An Oklahoma State team that has talent, but they just can't figure out how to win basketball games, which is kind of an important part of the equation. K-State probably should have lost this game, but Oklahoma State again just didn't finish well. I think K-State played extremely well the last 10 minutes of the game. It took them to the 3:13 mark, 3:31 mark maybe, to take the lead that Oklahoma State had held for about 22 minutes, but they found a way to win. K-State turned the ball over too often. They didn't have great shot selection. They played great defense. The crowd was impactful, as Jerome Tang said on his post-game show, and they got a win. They found a way to win a game in which they didn't play particularly well. 17 turnovers again in this game, just as they did against Baylor on Tuesday night. So it's a trend that they've got to solve. Cam Carter's having real problems handling the ball. But Arthur Kaluma, other than having too many turnovers, shot the ball extremely well, was a man, only two cats in double figures. And that's really all I've got to say about the game until, they go to Iowa State and Houston next week. It's going to be tough. We'll see how they come out, but they're 4-1 in the conference now. So they have some cushion, and of course you want to find a way to win a game out on the road again, but those are two great opponents and great venues. It'll be a really tough challenge. Hey, make sure you're subscribing to this YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up, all that good stuff. We appreciate all the comments, everything, and the ongoing support of all the shows we're doing now, the Insiders, the Big Insiders, the Shoot Around. Those have been coming a little bit later on Friday than we'd normally want, but scheduling issues sometimes get us. So keep watching and loving it. But I'm going to spend the rest of the time with this talk to tell a story. I grew up in Salina, Kansas. I've shared this story before, but today was a Legends game, and they wore the throwbacks, the lavenders over the purple shorts. I go back to the 1970s, and Jack Hartman invented this. Now, that's the official story, that Jack Hartman sat around and said, let's try this. Now, if you're old enough to know who Jack Hartman is, and you were around him, you're like, Jack Hartman thought of something creative like that? It's like Bill Snyder having this inspirational moment where they come up with something really unique and kind of groundbreaking. It caught on a little bit back in the 70s. I think Notre Dame had green over green, pale green over dark green for a while, but this kind of went away. And now it's barred by the NCAA. You've got to get permission from the NCAA and your opponent to do this. K-State did that. It was the Legends game. Oklahoma State doesn't care. Mike Boynton's a good dude. It was cool. It was cool. But here's the story growing up in Salina, Kansas, that I always was told. And this sounds so much more plausible than Jack Hartman had a great moment of inspiration and decided to pull out two-tone uniforms that had never been used before by anyone else. Back in those days, you didn't have uniform deals. There's no Nike, and you might have had a deal with Converse or something, but you bought your equipment at a sporting goods store. Like any other youth team or high school team, you went down to the local sporting goods store and you put in an order for uniforms. It's hard to believe, but that's what happened. And the uniform provider for Kansas State, at least in basketball, was Knight's Sporting Goods in Salina, Kansas. It was just a great store. It was one of those old school sporting goods store, but they did an incredible business of uniforms on the side. And I had always been told that somehow, some way, in the process of ordering the dark purple road uniforms, they had to write down color codes, and the wrong color code got written down on the tops. And when they came in, they were lavender. It was too late to do anything about it, so they rolled with it and owned it. That's the story I was always told, and it seems very believable, because to come up with this seems like a mistake, and it looks like a mistake. But it's part of K-State history, and I'm glad Coach Tang and Coach Weber before him have really, continued to honor that tradition with this, lavender over purple. This will be the only time I think we'll see it this year. But they do wear the lavenders now, and this was a lavender out. And I would say 80% of this crowd was wearing lavender. Do I need to say it again that K-State must lean into the lavender? It is something really cool this school does really well, and the fans love it. Quit finding reasons not to embrace it, to not incorporate it in as many uniforms as possible. Find a way to use it, and use it a lot. We'll see if they do that. Not sure. K-State's off to Iowa State on Wednesday. Zach Carlson will be there, maybe me if I'm feeling up to it. Then off to Houston on Saturday, big week in K-State basketball. You can check it all out. Make sure you watch the Insiders. On Monday, I will not be there. I actually have a medical appointment in Kansas City with one of my docs. So either Brian Hanley or Ryan Gilbert will be hosting, but they'll both be on the show for sure with Glenn and Tim and the rest of the gang. Appreciate you listening to the talk. Didn't have much to say about the game, but I do love the lavender. You know that. And the lavender over purple, well, it brings back great memories. Great memories of great basketball in a Hurden Fieldhouse. You got to keep it.